Hey everyone, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to be working with the Carta collection called Snow Much Fun. We are going to be adding on the coordinating solids cardstock, the chipboard accents, the die cuts, and the enamel dots. The 12x12 collection kit includes a sticker sheet along with 12 pattern papers. We are going to be making 4 pages today, so we are going to need 4 background papers along with 2 accent papers. So we are going to need 6 of these pattern papers total, and we are going to potentially use the leftovers from this kit to make pocket pages next week. Okay, so first of all, with the cardstock here, in this cardstock pack, there are 6 pieces of cardstock, and they are 3 different colors, and they are double-sided. So there is 2 each of every paper. So there's 3 different color combinations. In this cutting guide, we need 1 sheet of one color, 1 sheet of another color, and then 2 sheets of one color. So we need 3 different colors, but one of them, we need 2 sheets of them. Okay, so this coral pink kind of color and this mint color here, they look very, they're very distinct and very different than one another. So we're gonna go ahead and use that as our one color. So we can say color number 1 and color number 2. And then for our third color, we need 2 sheets of that color. And that color to me is usually kind of like more of a neutral kind of color, or one that coordinates more with everything. So we're going to go ahead and use that blue-gray kind of paper for our cardstock that we need 2 sheets of. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and lay out in front of us all of our pattern paper. So there should be 12 pages. I'm going to go ahead and start off by eliminating the journaling cards. So I originally kind of liked this striped paper because it kind of stood out to me. So usually papers that stand out to me, I'm going to use them as an accent paper, but there was journaling cards on the back side of it, so I figured I would have a lot of embellishments left, being that I'm only making 4 pages. So I went ahead and decided that I might try and use a different paper as an accent, so that I can save that for my journaling cards. I really like this paper with the trees on it. Incorporated a lot of different colors, and I liked the trees. So I went ahead and used that as my first accent paper. These mountains and this paper that has writing on it, I went ahead and picked those for background pages. And this paper that I just eliminated there, it just didn't scream winter to me. It was more like it could have been used as like a fall paper. So I eliminated that one as well. I love this snowflake one. It's got a darker base background, so we're going to go ahead and pull that out as well and use that as a background page. And I really wanted to use this paper, and I almost did use it. And then I decided to change my mind, and I went ahead and incorporated this leaf paper here, this kind of like greeny mint kind of colored based leaf paper with the white leaves on it. And I put that imagery of those as my final, that page that has all those images on it. I used that one as my final background paper. Here I'm still deciding whether or not I want to use that as an accent paper. I ended up deciding to use this top paper here, this one as my final accent. It looked good on the back side as well if I wanted to flip it over. So I went ahead, and these are my final paper selections for today's tutorial. We have cutting diagrams in my tutorial videos, and I just kind of want to let you know how to read them. So there's the number in top in inches, and that's going to be the size that we're going to cut that cut piece into. And there's a number below it in a circle. So a lot of the times we're making 4 pages or 6 pages when we're using these cutting diagrams, and all these cut pieces can sort of get very disorganized. So that number inside of the circle there represents a pile that you're going to put that cut piece into. So for a 4-page tutorial, we're going to make 4 piles, and for a 6-page tutorial, we're going to make 6 piles. So the numbers are going to be either 1 through 4 or 1 through 6. So page 1 is going to have all the cut pieces that have a circle with the number 1 inside, and so on for the 4 or 6 pages. So now we're going to go ahead and take all pieces of our cardstock, and we are going to cut 1 inch in, 1 inch from the top, and 1 inch from the bottom. And we're going to make a straight line on all 4 sides of each of these pieces of cardstock. What we're basically doing is cutting a 10 by 10 inch square out of the center of this piece of cardstock. The border is going to be put into our pile, and the center, the 10 by 10 inch center, is going to be put to the side, and we're going to be cutting it with another cutting diagram as soon as we're done cutting out all of these squares. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the backgrounds for our pages. So we are going to be cutting the barcode strip off along with 1/2 inch, and then 1/2 inch on the other side. So we're going to be making an 11.5 inch by 11.5 inch square for all of our background papers. Okay, so off camera here, I went ahead and cut up all of my journaling cards, and I also cut up all of our spare cardstock and spare pattern paper into 4x6 size pieces so that they are ready to make pocket pages, which I might attempt to do next week. I'm not sure yet. So here I'm just putting out all of the embellishments and enamel dots, taking out the chipboard, and I'm just sort of laying everything out in front of me, and we're going to get started here with, this would be, I guess, the layout number 4 in this cutting guide. And I always like to start my biggest sort of embellishment area, which would be down underneath this 3x3 photo area. It's kind of like that bottom corner of the page. It's a little bit more empty than the rest of the 12x12 page, so I kind of start there with some of my bigger elements. And here I just kind of loose laid everything on top. Even though they are stickers, I just kind of gently put them on the page so that they wouldn't stick too much. And I just kind of wanted to have a look at how they sit on the page and what they look like before I go ahead and commit to putting like foam squares on the back. So what I did here is I popped up each one of these little banners that make up the word snow. I popped those up. I also popped up the sticker, which is this girl pulling the toboggan, and that tree behind her is actually a chipboard piece. So the combination of the popped up elements and the chipboard really work nicely together. And then this little cartoon character doing a snow angel at the bottom of that 4x6 photo area, I also popped that up. And then I popped up this titling that says Cold Days, Warm Hearts. And then I'm going to put a few snowflakes throughout the layout just to tie everything nicely together. And what I decided to do this time with my pages is there is 5 different colors of enamel dots, and I used one color per page. So this page, all of my enamel dots are going to be like this dark blue color. And I tried to put about 3 of them around each cluster area. Okay, so for our next layout, we are going to be working on layout number 1. So for this page here, I want to incorporate sort of 3 cluster areas. So one on top of that 4x4 photo area, one on the left side of that 3x3 photo area at the bottom, and then one sort of anywhere along that straight edge of those 3x3 photos, but I want it to not line up with the other cluster areas. So here I raised it a little bit compared to my bottom cluster area, but it's so the 3 clusters will sort of make a triangle on the page. Okay, so I decided to tuck in this little, it's not a 3x4 journaling card, it's actually like one of the die cut pieces, and it says love this weather, and I framed it with a popped up tree, and then I created a little scene at the bottom with these mountains along with the trees. So I put down the mountains in the background directly to the page, and then I layered on top of it that other little mountain chipboard piece, and at the top there I just tucked in and it directly adhered that striped plaidish tag piece, and then I layered the titling that says Snow Day on top of it. Then I framed it with a couple of darker colored chipboard pieces. And for this layout, I am choosing like this light minty kind of a green color to go around my cluster areas. And I felt like we needed a little bit more of a white background behind those mountains. So I swapped this die cut in that says Snow Happy, and then put a few pieces of chipboard snowflakes on top just to kind of finish off that area. And what I did with the 2 trees down in that cluster is I popped them up with foam squares, and to the right side of that green colored tree I put a chipboard mountain as well, just to kind of finish off that area. Okay, so for this next layout, I went with this snow banner because it was more of a white based background instead of that dark one that's on the chipboard accents, just because it was up against a really dark background. And I did pop those up with foam squares. And then at the top here, I decided to put this die cut that says warm up by the fire, along with the chipboard girl pulling a toboggan. What I really liked as well is that the girl and some of the other elements I put on the page match the color of the cardstock that is matting that 3x4 photo area. So it incorporates some of that sort of coral pinkish kind of color. And the theme for this page for me is going to be like when we go tobogganing, a lot of times we'll have a fire on top of the hill to warm up. So those were the inspiration pictures for this layout. Okay, so I love this circle element that says Burr with the little girl on it again. And then I decided to put some chipboard snowflakes on top just to kind of finish that off. And then I thought something, that this snow banner needed a little bit of something on the left side. So I popped up a sticker with foam squares of a coffee mug there. And then I wanted to put some kind of wording right beside this girl under the blanket. So I just put this green element that says Happy Days. Okay, so for our final layout, I needed some taller pieces. So I kind of saved some of my embellishments that were taller. So like this snowman and this bear, just because the page has some taller sort of element pieces. Like the 4x6 photo area, it's kind of a very tall linear piece, and so is that sort of that line where that pink corally cardstock is on the left side of those 3x3 photos. So this page, again, I kind of struggled at the top here. I didn't know what to do here beside this little tag that says crisp, cool, snowy winter, and I played around with some different things, and then I ended up trying to incorporate some of the trees that I had left on the sticker sheet. So I ended up putting in this this little journaling element that says today on it, and I layered that sort of in a different angle than I did the tag, and I directly adhered it to the page, and then I decided to frame around it with a bunch of these trees. So I tucked the bottom of this one tree in right here underneath that 4x6 photo area, but I popped up the top in between those two elements, and then I needed another really tall tree to put on the left side of that white tag, and then I wanted 2 more trees, so I directly adhered this one to the page and then popped up this little bit taller one. I wanted to make sure that my heights, I had different height lines for the trees, just to make the cluster look a little bit better. And then I just finished off this page with the enamel dots that were like the most white color, as I thought they would stand out on the page a little bit more than the rest. So we have a lot of stickers, enamel dots, and chipboard left after making these 4 pages. So I think I'm going to attempt to make my journaling or make my pocket pages with this collection. I don't have much for journaling cards. There really wasn't very many to begin with in this collection, but I do have a lot of pattern paper and a lot of cardstock left along with these elements here. So I'm packing these all up back into the packaging that the chipboard came in, and I'm just cutting down this 12x12 sticker sheet, eliminating all the stuff that I used off of it already and keeping what I still have to work with. And I'm gonna attempt to make pocket pages maybe next week with them, and we might have to do a lot of creative things with it just because we don't have any pre-made journaling. We don't have that many pre-made journaling boxes, so we might have to do some layering with cardstock and plain accent paper to create some interest in those journaling areas, or in our pocket pages, sorry. Thank you so much for watching this week, and we will see you next Friday with another video. Have a great weekend.